All right, welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Pardon me. Today is Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. Thanks for tuning in for tonight's Grand Solar Minimum news update. Let's get started with some space weather. Right now, our solar wind speeds are coming in at 458.3 kilometers per second with a density of 14.8. Cosmic radiation dosage rates have jumped up 1.1% since last night, now are sitting at 8.5%. So we have a moderate stream of solar wind affecting the planet right now. Nothing crazy, but our KP indices are elevated at 4, and that is just right below the threshold for a geomagnetic storm. We are on a geomagnetic storm watch until tomorrow, February 2nd. So we expected the increase today in KP indice as we are now starting to see the beginning of the M1 class flare that we had back in January 30th. So we said sometime late first, early on the second, and here we are starting to see KP indices rising. Before we did the show tonight, around 5 o'clock, we had KP indices at 1 with a 24-hour max at 2. So just to give you an idea, in the last 2 hours, things have really jumped up. So I would expect us to be in storm conditions sometime tonight, if not in the middle of the night here, Eastern Standard Time. With all that being said, too, I want everybody to keep this in mind, and we'll go over the forecast here in a little while, but the amount of cosmic radiation dosage rates that we're experiencing right now, 8.5% is still high, and the density of the plasma of the solar wind is 14.8, which is not really thick, but it is thicker than the usual, which is somewhere in the single digits. So this could be an interesting storm that we have approaching right now that's going to be here in the U.S. for the next several days. Will it overperform? Will it underperform? We will find out, but there is definitely going to be enough juice in the atmosphere along with the moisture that's coming from the Gulf with the cold front coming down from the Arctic. I mean, this storm has all the perfect ingredients for overperforming. But we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. Let's go over to thegrandsolarminimum.com to our space weather section. I wanted to point this out. This thing is a behemoth, and I say that because, spaceweather.com says so. This is the large sunspot that threw out the M-class flare. It is still at a 10% chance for an X-class flare, still at a 40% chance of another M-class. And the reason why they keep the alerts up that high is because it still is technically Earth-facing. So until this thing starts pinning a little bit more to the western limb, that's when we'll see those chances of X-class flares go down. The concern is not there when it's not Earth-facing and not Earth-directed. But again, folks, this sunspot back here, it is beginning to pierce the eastern limb. This will be a very, very large sunspot if it continues to form the way we think. And let's actually go to spaceweather.com because take a look at this thing. They're showing us another way of looking at far side spots. And wow, look at that. The red is the far side right here. So what we were just showing you is coming up right now on the eastern limb over here. All right, right here is directly Earth facing. So this sunspot, the size of it, I mean, look at the comparison here between the 2936, which is very large, and then look at this over here. Again, huge sunspot if this continues to form the way we believe. But also, this is going to be another way to find out far side sunspots, since we know stereo B is not in communication with Earth, and we do not get to see that on the space weather tools here like we do here. So all that black that you see, that's from stereo B not communicating. So this is how we will get around that by this tool right here. And again, we can see that it is a pretty good size sunspot. But NASA, using a technique called helioseismology, it is possible for NASA's Solar Dynamic Observatory to map the far side of the sun. New far side maps show potentially significant sunspot grouping that has been circled. Again, the technique is called helioseismology. And so I'll actually find out exactly where to get this. I'll have this probably pulled up as well, but this gives you a general idea, in my opinion, a better idea of the size of what's coming around the eastern limb compared to here, where we're just speculating that there's more behind this in the black area. So this new tool, or I don't know if it's new actually, I haven't seen it before, but this way of predicting far side or showing us is definitely going to help a lot, because boy, is there a lot coming up in the news about the sun. And so here recently, yesterday, shout out to Plasma Crab on Twitter for sharing this with me. Ancient solar storm smashed Earth at the wrong part of the sun's cycle, and scientists are concerned. The 92-year-old storm left researchers with a stark conclusion: we are not ready for the next one. An extremely powerful solar storm pummeled our planet 9,200 years ago, leaving permanent scars on the ice buried deep below Greenland and Antarctica. A new study of those ancient ice samples has found that this previously unknown storm is one of the strongest outbursts of solar weather ever detected, and it would have crippled modern communication systems if it had hit Earth today. But perhaps the most surprising, the massive storm appears to have hit during a solar minimum during the sun's 11-year cycle, when solar outbursts are typically much less common. Because of this unexpected discovery, the study researchers are concerned that the devastating solar storms could hit when we least expect them, and Earth might not be prepared for the next big one that arrives. This article is not trying to sell fear, but what I think it's trying to do is it's starting to sprinkle a little bit of truth into the MSM. A little story here, a little story there. Space.com is the source of this one. So, but this is just planting the seed, folks. And the fact that this ancient solar storm hit during a solar minimum is, this is great that there's research being done out here and they're focusing in on solar cycles. They were able to identify it was in a minimum during this period of time. And the reason why scientists are concerned is because during a solar minimum, especially during a grand solar minimum, which is several cycles of low solar activity, lower than average, I should say. But when you're in a grand solar minimum, especially, you're talking about weaker magnetosphere. So that's our protection, the magnetic field. And when the sun's weaker, the Earth's magnetic field is weaker as well, because there is a connection from the sun to each planet in the solar system magnetically. I believe that wholeheartedly. So when we have solar minimums, our shields are down, so to speak. And to hear that we had a monster solar storm 9,200 years ago, I know, long time ago, nobody was alive, not the point. The point is it's happened before. And it can, and it will happen again. You can't sit here and be that naive and egotistical and not act like that this is not a possibility in your lifetime, especially how long it's been since the last major one anyway. Scientists have every right to be concerned about not being prepared, because we're still trying to figure out how to improve our technology when it comes to the power grid. Right now, the whole world is fighting over carbon and how fossil fuels are not the answer anymore. So they want to convert everything to solar and wind. But again, that's more components that could be affected by solar storms. Think about this. Let's say that some of these Democratic politicians get their way and they get the Green New Deal rolling here. And we convert solar into wind, and everything is streamlined green, everything's plug-in, everything's digitized, and then boom, we get a solar storm, a bad one. It's going to knock out the power grid anyway, but think about what it's going to do to the equipment that runs the power grid. On top of that, it's fried. It's done. It's done. How long does it take to rebuild when an entire grid goes out in a whole country? I don't know. 5, 7, 10 years, maybe? And will it be something where, is it the whole world that experiences this? Or is it just going to be on the side of the planet where this solar storm impacted Earth? Still, they are planting the seeds. It is time we start thinking ahead and outside of the box. Be prepared. How can you be prepared? There's tons of things we can start doing. Faraday cages. A lot of you guys out there are preppers, so you know all about Faraday cages. And look, channels like us will give you an alert. We know we can get a 48-hour, 72-hour alert, and when we see a big storm coming, we're going to get that kind of time. Even if it's only 48 hours, it's still enough time to gather up what you need, all your prepper supplies, everything that is of electronically value, because when everything does come back, you're going to want those devices. What better way to do that than store it in a Faraday cage? And like I said, we have the technology now to get the information out to the public if need be. So, concerned, don't be scared, just be prepared, is all I can say. But very interesting article, and I thought that was something we needed to share tonight as well. All right, on the same lines of grand solar minimum and what the sun does to our planet, one of those things is seismic activity. And this article popped up yesterday, actually, January 31st. Scientists detect rejuvenated uplift near South Sister Volcano. Now, according to this article, the movement that we've experienced is between a year's time, from August or 2020 summer till August of 2021. And the amount of movement is about 0.9 inches, okay? So this is very small, but still significant. And not any way am I trying to downplay this, but what I'm trying to report is that this is something to monitor, definitely. But it's not like this happened last night or, there's extra proof that this thing's going to blow up next week. But considering what's happening right now with this rejuvenated situation here, uplift near the South Sister Volcano. Sorry, the cat was disturbing me. We do need to shed some concern on this. And the biggest reason why goes back to the book Upheaval. John Casey, the author, predicts that we will see a major VEI 7 or 8 volcano eruption between now and 2037. And if you read this article and go into the times that they've noted the movement here, it's taken a long, long time for the actual movement that's happened now to accumulate, is what I'm saying. So this is a very slow process. Cyclic almost, right? Who knows? The last time this area went off was in 1853. Yeah, not a coincidence, right? Very close to the Dalton minimum. I'm sure the sun was still trying to regain strength at that point, and we weren't full blast yet. The point being said here, though, is that this is something, again, we have to keep our eyes on. So we got the solar storms, and now we got to watch the effects of solar storms, which could be volcanoes going off, like we saw in Tonga. A lot of people out there feel like we could see a lot more of these volcanoes popping off at 70,000 or higher here during 2022. And, to see this article kind of pop up and you're thinking, this is in Oregon. This is in the United States of America. We don't know what kind of an eruption this could be. It could be a small, weak one. It could be a huge one. It's not a super volcano. Is it a super volcano, Mari? Do you know? The sister volcano, the South Sister Volcano. Oh, maybe it is. I don't know. Still, something to keep our eyes on. Nothing to be crazy. Again, the color code warning out here is normal, which is green. So, it's not like this is going to happen tomorrow or next week or anything like that. But there has been some noteworthy movement here with earthquake activity as well in the months of October, December of 2021, and also January of 2022. Now, these were small magnitude earthquakes. So again, this is something we just need to keep our eyes on, is all I'm saying here. Oh, and I tell you, I wasn't even going to cover this tonight. I can't even believe it. But our good friend Mohammed sent me this in my inbox. And at first glance, I didn't really realize this, but this is rainfall, folks. High impact weather event warning, red warning, heavy rain issued for Westland and Buller, New Zealand. Now you're seeing where it says 655 millimeters of rain. And that is going to happen in the next 42 hours, folks. And yes, I do know how many inches this is going to be, and it's 25.7 inches of rain in 42 hours. You see the 794, that's going to be closer to the 30 inches of rain. 30 inches of rain, guys. I'm not really surprised. You shouldn't be either. Cosmic radiation dosage rates are super high, in my opinion. 8.5% is still near minimum conditions. Our atmosphere is fluxed. We're seeing big storms all over the globe, not just here in the U.S. And this is not this is the second time we've seen this big rain event happen in this side of the hemisphere in just the last 3 weeks. We had a huge amount of rain move across Australia, and if I'm not mistaken, I thought I heard something about volcanic ash that might have been blamed for some of the particulate in the atmosphere causing the weather, the heavy rain anyway. Again, guys, highly charged particles, cosmic rays, interact with particles that are already in the atmosphere along with water vapor, and that's where the cosmic rays kind of act as steroids to the water vapor. And they form larger than usual raindrops, and you see these big storms like this. We've been on the air for 5 years now. How many times have you heard us say over and over again, we've never seen this much rain in one day. We've never seen this much before. This has never happened before. And it's going to continue, as we're just at the very, very beginning of this grand solar minimum, folks. It's going to continue. And then, of course, let's quickly give an update on what is going on with the storm coming across here in the United States. Well, a lot of forecasting going on, a lot of shifting going on, but it is underway tonight in the Rockies, which, by the way, they are expecting some heavy snow accumulations, not as much as what we're going to see in the Illinois and northwestern parts of Indiana. Also, Detroit, Michigan, 18 inches of snow expected there. So I did not mean to click on that ad there. So, boy, Watchers has got them all over the place. You got to love them, right? Got to pay the bill somehow. Come on now. But no, back to the storm that's coming here. It starts tonight, and it'll move across the Midwest and into the Northeast. In fact, let's just go ahead and check everything out here at Tropical Tidbits. Make sure this is refreshed so we can get the latest forecast here, which this is not the latest. So let me get you the 18Z. All right, here we go. So as you can see, the storm is already starting to get underway across the Midwest right now. It's really going to start picking up steam overnight tonight into tomorrow. And this, folks, is tomorrow. And we start to see this icing situation here forming. And that's just the beginning. This cold front's going to push down further south and push that ice line down with it. And tons of moisture will be fueling this storm here as we go along Wednesday into Thursday. As it hooks up again in the southwest, more snow and rain, and this is where things really start to link up together. Now, Thursday, Texas, parts of Texas, Dallas may see some bad ice. Amarillo, Texas, also will see some decent snowfall. But this area right here, this is where the bulk of the power is going to be in this storm right here. And this is just Thursday. Remember, it starts up tonight. It's not as bad as it is right here by Thursday. But we're dealing with solar storms, folks. We're getting ready to have one right now. So we're going to have a very fluxed atmosphere. I would not be surprised if we see some shocking ice accumulations along the Ohio River, parts of southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and through Missouri as well. But let's keep this rolling. Thursday into Friday now. Still heavy icing in the same spots. Moderate snowfall, and you see it. It's just nonstop from Thursday straight on through. And here in New York, Friday, still seeing the heaviest snow moving into where Amari and I are, and back into New England again. Vermont, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and Maine will start to see snow as this will wind down for places like Dayton, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, and the far south parts of Indiana, Illinois. Snow will finally be winding down by Friday. This snow goes all the way into Saturday morning for southern parts of New York and eastern Pennsylvania into New England still, and finally makes its way out of here by Saturday. High pressure settling in, making things cold. So what's concerning is that after this storm is gone and the power's out, it's going to be a race because we've got this Arctic front coming in, and it's really going to be affecting people who can't heat their homes. Power's out for more than 8 to 10 hours, which is a very high possibility for folks in the area where my arrow is pointing at. This area here, we've really got to watch with some serious icing, and that's what is the concern. Now, the more ice they get, the less snow is going to fall, obviously. But the way that Tropical Tidbits, the GFS, is showing this has been consistent for the last 3 days. What I just showed right here. So my area is not even in a winter storm watch. I think that has to change tomorrow, especially if this model run continues to do this, because it's nonstop snow for us here in upstate New York. Sunday, quiet, cold. Another little system trying to get something together, but it quickly leaves in the Atlantic. Cold front dipping into the south. Another low pressure system, not much to worry about. By Wednesday, February 9th, we were thinking that we were going to have another system affect the Northeast by the 7th, but that one thankfully has fizzled out. And then some lake effect snow showers and Alberta Clipper coming through on Friday next weekend through the Northeast, parts of Pennsylvania, New York, and of course the rest of the Northeast. Some snow showers for Minnesota and northeastern North Dakota. And then really anything past the February 11th is just speculation at this point because the models just changed so much. But GFS does like the chance for another large storm system to come through across the country around the middle of February. And this system could bring ice and snow as far south as Texas. Right now, it's not showing up, which is fine by me. You see another system moving into the Northeast by the middle of the month. GFS has been showing that signal to me now for the past several days. So, folks, be prepared. If you live in the Northeast Ohio and up, I would definitely be ready and get your snowblowers ready because we are about to see some snowfall here in the next several days. Temperature-wise, well, nothing's really changed since we reported this last night. But that Arctic air that we are looking at right here is following after this snowstorm. And this is what I was talking about last night. Look at this line of temperatures, folks, where we're seeing single digits and negatives. That is not because this Canadian Arctic air is filtering into the United States. This is the snowpack. This is the snowpack that's going to help affect temperatures. So that storm's going to move out on Friday night, clear things out. High pressure is moving in, so that means high pressure, drier air, clear skies. That's right. Any heat that has been trapped at the surface is running out of here faster than you can say cold snap. But this is where we see events that affect temperature the minute it's over with. This is a clear evidence right here, folks. Let's move on here over the weekend. This weekend, some cold stuff still for the Northeast. Up in North Dakota and Minnesota and Wisconsin, the Great Lakes, watch out. Some more cold Arctic air shooting your way by the middle of next week. Parts of southwest Ohio, again, seeing some unseasonably cool weather. Could see some temperatures in the teens, and then a little bit of a moderation here. Temperatures just above freezing by Thursday, February 10th. And this is where we're going to watch. Now, again, February 11th and beyond, this is all speculation, but this cold front is something of interest. And we haven't seen a really big blast of Arctic air just yet. The GFS is trying to flirt with that idea here in the Northeast on Valentine's Day and February 16th as well. But for the most part, the impressive part about this is that right now, this Arctic air is staying mainly north of the border, and the coldest of the cold air is going to remain in the Northeast, the Great Lakes, and the very northern part of the Plain States. But folks, beyond that, talk about a February thaw for the Midwest, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Oklahoma. You guys will be fine with the ice and snow all melting away. But living in the Northeast, the Plain States, or I should say the Northern Plain States and the Great Lakes, we won't be so fortunate. The cold is here to stay. And like I said, this is all speculation. This could change. This pattern could change and it can get even colder. We haven't had that real big blast yet, so I'm not trying to bring it on or anything, but I'm just saying. Here's what we're thinking on snowfall totals by Thursday. Again, the bulk of it hitting the Midwest in the beginning of the storm, and then we get to Friday into Saturday. Look at that. So by the time the storm exits the area, the general consensus looks like here is that we will see around a foot or more across this wide swath of snow that we're going to get between tonight and February 4th and early 5th. So that's wave number 1. And then next week we get a couple of chances to add on to that total. A snow event possible for the Carolinas. That's right, the Carolinas, North Carolina, South Carolina, northern parts of Georgia too, looking at a chance of a snowfall there. February 8th, that's next week. And then we get to the 9th and the 10th. And again, after this is just speculation. Lots of snow on the ground, if you ask me, by the middle of February. Here we are all the way to the 17th. Another system does move through in the Northeast, indicating that it could still be in the 20 to 30 inch range by the time we get to Valentine's Day for people who live in the North Country, upstate New York, and parts of the Great Lakes. Now, the GFS model has backed off a little bit on how heavy the snow is. But to see this much snow on the ground in this region at one time is remarkable. And especially for folks that live in Ohio and Indiana and Kentucky and Illinois, southern parts of Illinois, not just Chicago. Usually Chicago is the only ones that gets the winter weather, but they don't get this kind of snow. In fact, the last time I remember Ohio getting more than 16 inches of snow was back in 2003. And it snowed for 2 days, and they got, I think, somewhere around 18 inches. And I thought that was huge. I've never seen snow like that before. And then I moved to Buffalo. Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, talk about snow. I think I threw my shoulder out moving to Buffalo, shoveling the snow. I was floored the first winter in Buffalo. All right, folks, how do you support us? Well, check us out at our parent network, WTFsky.org, where it has multiple links for Grand Solar Minimum, and soon to come, iloveco2.com and Middleman News. Also, don't forget to check out WTF Sky. Mari really built this channel from the ground up. Science fiction, comedy, you name it. Hey, we even sing a little bit too. Check out our Teespring store. I left the link in the description if you guys want to represent the GSM channel. We'd love the support. What a great way to support your favorite YouTube channel and also get a conversation starter going here. People need to know about the Grand Solar Minimum. And there's not enough people out there talking about it. And you're saying, Jake, why are you always talking about the Grand Solar Minimum so matter of fact? Aren't you worried about getting banned off of YouTube? Well, they've already demonetized us. There's nothing much more they can do to us, honestly. We'll just continue to report on solar cycles, the weather, and the events that follow these solar events or lack thereof events. That's all we can do. But still, not enough people know about Grand Solar Minimum. Too many people brainwashed about this AGW idea, I should say. It's just an idea. It's not fact. I promise you, you've probably seen more science tonight ever in tonight's video than you have ever in Bill Nye's career combined. So And if you want to find out a way to support us on a monthly basis, since YouTube has demonetized us, we are asking our YouTube old subscribers to jump on over to the Patreon network just for a buck, guys. We don't need to, get rich, hit the lottery and everything like that with $50 donors and the $100 donors. That's not necessary. We do have some large donors out there, and we really appreciate that. But we figure a buck a month would be more than support that you guys could imagine. So again, those are the ways that you can support our channel here at the Grand Solar Minimum, since YouTube and Google wants to censor the truth and call us harmful content. I want to say hello to a few people out in the chat. Very enthusiastic gardener, Angel Lawrence over there from Lee Wheelbarger's channel. Oh, by the way, Lee Wheelbarger has invited me and Mari on to his channel for a little discussion on Grand Solar Minimum. So if you're a member of his channels, you'll be able to check that out on his private network. Lee Wheelbarger has this huge news organization, so he gets attacked too much by talking about topics like this on YouTube. So he has moved everything over to a private server. That should be Saturday night, 8 o'clock, something like that. But hello, Shirley Davis, as well as Lisa B. Pizza Hut, good to see you, sir. Knife Collector, Jerome Schlickler from Rochester. Arnold Schmidt, good to have you, sir, from Alberta, Canada. Shirley Davis, if I didn't say it, I'll say you again. Bert Caver, good to see you in the chat tonight. Mari, am I forgetting anybody? You always have my back. Patricia, hello once again.
There's a lot of people giving advice about how to cure us from COVID.
I see that. I see that. Ooh, okay. We could do that. Let's try it. Let's try it.
He says you gotta message him on Instagram. Are you on Instagram?
I don't, but we have an Instagram.
Do we?
You made one, remember?
How much you use it?
I mean, you don't, and we have like 100 followers, and we don't even use. Anyway, sorry, but no, plenty of new faces here in the chat. Thank you guys very much for tuning in tonight for this Grand Solar Minimum News update. That's going to do it for me tonight. Check back in tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. for another Grand Solar Minimum News update. And then again, Saturday night, we'll have a show with Lee Wheelbarger. That'll be live on his channel and possibly rebroadcasted here on the Grand Solar Minimum News Network. So until then, folks, we hope everyone has a great night. We'll talk soon.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.